Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to our Wrestling is Cool Survivor Series 2024 War Games. Sancho, you excited for War Games?
I am very excited for Survivor Series. It's one of my big four. I absolutely love the big four, and this one's going to nail it. Survivor Series has become the must-see pay-per-view or PLE, wherever you're from. I think it's exciting, man. I'm down for it.
I'm pumped for it as well. It just sort of felt like they had the last minute say, let's add these random 2 matches as well. All right. And I know that we built up 3 matches, but we can't just sell a 3-match PLE, which I thought they were going to. I actually thought that they were going to give us a 3-match PLE.
It would have been testy. It would have been, but I mean, the quality of those 3 would have been phenomenal, though. I mean, 2 War Games matches and a big Damian versus Gunther. It's Shy Gunther.
It would have had to have been a legendary set of matches if you were going to have the balls to put together a 3-match PLE. That would have been a tough sell, but I feel like they could have pulled it off. But folks, this is not the only episode of the Wrestling is Cool podcast that's coming out this week. We have already recorded a full, nearly 2-hour episode that is already up on the Patreon. If you happen to be watching this on free feeds, you won't see that podcast for a couple of days more on the typical Fridays when it's released. You could come over and watch it early over on patreon.com/SantiZap. For $5, you get all of the content that we produce. It is not separated by tiers. The lowest tier, $5, gets you everything. We actually upload more on the Patreon than what I upload on YouTube. And I already upload like a maniac on YouTube. You're going to get the Raw reviews, the SmackDown reviews, the 5 Wrestling is Cool Match Club watch-alongs that we allow you to vote on what matches we watch. We both also have parallel series. Sancho is currently doing his watch-along of every single Royal Rumble. He just got to Royal Rumble 2005. And I'm doing every single Undertaker WrestleMania match. I'm currently on WrestleMania 19. So come check it out. So much content that never gets uploaded to YouTube. It never sees the light of day on YouTube because it just simply can't appear on YouTube. So come on over, patreon.com/SantiZap, link in the description, link in the pinned comment. Come give it a shot. We are confident that if you try the Patreon, or even just a little bit, that you're going to fall in love with it. Let's jump right into predictions. Let's just start off with the matches that were just sort of tossed in last minute.
Sure.
Let's start off with LA Knight versus Shinsuke Nakamura for the United States Championship. LA Knight is your guy, and I haven't seen you this deterred, this concerned for the reign of LA Knight. Sancho, I'm going to pass this over to you. I'd like to hear your thoughts on what's going on at the Glaze factory.
It's not good, man. There's a lot of spookiness happening. There's something haunting us. It's a ghoul. That's someone of the past that has now showed up at our front door, and it's a scary one. The worst kind of scary kind of horror icons is the Japanese ghosts are always so scary. And it's Nakamura, the Jedi Sith, is at our doorstep, knocking it down. And I have concern, my friend, that LA Knight could lose this without any buildup. That means surprises and shenanigans are afoot. And LA Knight, if you had to ask me which one's going to lose their title besides the tag team titles, you would say LA Knight was probably one of them because, you know, 1, it's the United States title, and 2, LA Knight has been super bravado and super confident coming off his triple threat win. Has to take a step back somewhere. They have to give him something to chase, and I think Nakamura would be a great guy to kind of win the belt and then he wins it back type of vibe. So my prediction would be Nakamura wins in a shocking fashion here against LA Knight.
I think it could go one of 2 ways, and in neither way does it end up with LA Knight standing tall. It could be Nakamura gets himself disqualified and just beats down LA Knight and just kind of continues to extend this feud and actually maybe gives them an opportunity to build and have promos with each other towards Saturday night's main event or Raw Netflix or maybe the Royal Rumble, whatever it might be. Or it is Nakamura winning. And I think it's one of those 2 results because the one result that is detrimental is Nakamura losing. Nakamura losing, it's over, brother. It's done. You need to go back to New Japan Pro Wrestling because it's over in the WWE. If you're going to introduce this new spooky Sith Lord Shinsuke Nakamura, and if you have him lose instantly, it's over. It's done with this. This Nakamura gimmick is DOA, dead on arrival, if Nakamura loses, which is why I'm kind of leaning towards what you're saying here, that we could have that shock championship change. The lack of build tells me that this could be one of those where we just sort of snap the finger, change who's holding the title and just sort of reverse the roles and make LA Knight the guy that's chasing the championship gold. I just don't see a world where Nakamura doesn't stand tall in some way, shape, or form, which is why I'm also throwing out the idea of a disqualification finish.
Maybe. I mean, this is Nakamura's Joker sting. This is that kind of quality of character that could happen, but it needs a win. You cannot introduce a new evil that is, it's not on the same level as the White Six, but it could be built up to this level if you give him some kind of a creepy gold aspect. I don't know. I think it's just the lack of build that gives me the most concern. And none without basing anything else, because Nakamura does look cool in the silhouette, wearing his all black, and he just looks awesome with his makeup. But again, by the time of this recording this episode, SmackDown was pre-taped, so I don't know what happens out there to launch this fight. I'm just have concerns. As a number one LA Knight fan, I have concerns.
Mm-hmm.
And we got to forget, Carmelo's knocking around Carmelo has some unfinished business. You never know, dude. Shenanigans is afoot.
Shenanigans are always afoot. Good for LA Knight. Back-to-back PLEs. That's cool. That's nice. That's nice. That's good for LA Knight. That's kind of wild that we're both in agreement on a championship change on a feud that hasn't really even gotten off the ground running. That's kind of crazy.
I think if anyone could kind of navigate those waters, is LA Knight. I don't think he's done. I don't think he's buried. I think he'll be around the United States Championship picture. I just think it'd be more intriguing to see him on the back foot versus being this guy that's doing open challenges and just winning with BFTs out of nowhere. I just hope it's not this whole thing that Ghost Nakamura eats a BFT and survives. It better not be a fiend moment where LA Knight hits him with 10 of them and he still survives. That can't happen. It needs to be a different kind of a spooky supernatural thing that's happening with Nakamura.
I just I feel like we've been in this situation so many times with Nakamura. We're like, no way he can lose. He's finally gonna win. And just to rip out our hearts again, I just wouldn't be surprised if they're just gonna do that again. But I'm falling for the bait again in picking Nakamura. Maybe this one's a trap and I'm falling for it. They've got me again, Sancho, believing in Nakamura. So I'm taking Nakamura, which is just crazy to think about.
It's the vignettes with the AI art of LA Knight.
Let's stay in the mid card here at Sancho. We just also had another match announced the week of the PLE. It is the Intercontinental Championship triple threat match between the champion Braun Breaker defending against Sheamus and Ludwig Kaiser. I'll take this one since you took the last one. Sure. I think that this is a Braun Breaker victory, but that this is still going to leave a lot of room for Sheamus. I do think that Ludwig Kaiser is there as the guy to take the pin, but I think an end game here could be a WrestleMania match, Royal Rumble match, Raw Netflix match between Braun Breaker and Sheamus. The end goal that I'm seeing here is Sheamus as a Grand Slam champion. That is where I see things going. Just not yet. And I feel like that's the role of Ludwig Kaiser, to allow Sheamus to get out of here with reputation and aura still intact, while also allowing Braun Breaker to hold on to the championship. So I'm going to give you two predictions here. Braun Breaker wins and he pins Ludwig Kaiser.
I think there's definitely going to be a moment where Sheamus gets the false win, where the ref's out or something's happening where he gets screwed over and he should have got the win, but shenanigans is afoot. This seems to be the mid card.
Shenanigans.
I think they often use shenanigans to protect everybody, and I think in this case you don't need to protect Braun Breaker. You don't need to protect Sheamus. I don't even think you need to protect Kaiser either, because he seemingly could eat so many L's and just keeps on trucking because his in-ring ability is always fun to watch, and he's a great worker and he works kind of limbs very well for his size, and he looks great. I think what has always been the case with this feud that I've noticed between Sheamus and Ludwig and Braun Breakers is that one of them screws out the other and then launches another pathway. I just felt like the last Monday Night Raw that we saw, I think this is Braun Breaker turning face. Braun Breaker is getting like barks now. He's getting more and more face interactions with the crowd, and people are just enjoying him. The dude literally speared the commentator table. Like, that's a face spot. I've never seen one, right? So I'm definitely gonna have to go with the W for Braun Breaker, but I think Sheamus is gonna get that false victory that he has that to stand on going forward, and hopefully he's gonna be like, "Hey fella, I would have beat you if the referee was around," that type of thing.
Yeah. I think it sounds like you and I are on the same page there. That Sheamus is still kind of the long-term goal. I think a long-term feud here for Braun Breaker. So yeah, okay, all right. So we're both with Braun Breaker on this one. I just don't see both mid-card titles changing. That's also another reason.
Ooh.
Hey man.
What if this is the New Day feuds after Survivor Series, right?
Correct.
The New Day the New Day tenure?
Yes, New Day 10 years after Survivor Series.
I think we get a bonus prediction. We get another backstage segment with the New Day to kind of amp that tenure a little bit higher, even though what they did was perfect on Monday Night Raw.
Mm-hmm. All right, let's stay in just the regular matches. Yeah, we'll finish off by talking about the War Games matches. The World Heavyweight Championship match. Gunther, little sad baby bitch boy Gunther that we have now.
Shy Gunther is
Shy
appropriate.
Gunther, okay. The World Heavyweight Champion defending against Cool Damian Priest.
Oh, Big Daddy Cool Damian Priest.
What are we thinking here, Sancho?
This is going to be something where they cannot have Gunther win being this so vulnerable. This is where I think Damian does win. And I think if Damian does win, it will create an opportunity for Judgment Day to get back into the fold. Because I feel like the Judgment Day has been second fiddle to a lot of Rhea Ripley and Liv Morgan, things of that sort. I think Judgment Day business revolves around the heavyweight title. And I think it'd be a perfect way to get Finn Balor around and, more importantly, to get Dominic Mysterio around the title picture. We talked about this before in the Wrestling School podcast, and I kind of like that idea that you said. Gunther versus Dominic, never going to happen that Dominic would win. It would get close. It will maybe have a moment of hope. But Damian versus Dominic, I do see Dominic maybe beating Damian for the heavyweight title at some point, more so than Gunther. So if I want that happen, if I want that to be my end goal, that Dominic Mysterio ends up champion, this is the first piece of the puzzle, or Damian Priest beats the vulnerable Gunther.
Wow. All right. We have another championship change. I don't see it. I think at the end of the day, what they're doing here is just building Gunther ultimately.
Or Damian, bro. How dare you?
I think it's going to be sacrificing Damian Priest for Gunther. I think this is just WWE wanting to remind you that Gunther could at any moment lose a championship, that he's not just this unstoppable Terminator. But I think at the end of the day, what they've been doing with Gunther is just building Gunther by, and I've said this before in our podcast, by having him beat the people that leave uncertainty in his championship reign. One was Randy Orton, Sami Zayn was the other one, and this is, of course, the other major one because he beat Damian Priest for the championship because of the involvement of Finn Balor at SummerSlam. I think it's just about finishing off that three-headed Hydra, and then Gunther can go off to greener pastures and have feuds against brand new people. Drew McIntyre, I think, is where that eventually goes. I think that's where it could end up landing.
We said this before, but imagine if it was Drew in this position versus Damian, rather than Damian.
It would be landing better. I think it would be landing better. So you've got Damian. I've got Gunther. I think Gunther wins, and the whole point is just for Gunther to earn his Bushido back and getting that confidence back, bring that smile back. The general that smiles back, Gunther.
That sounded like the what was it?
I was going for Gold
Rogue. I thought it was Rogue One. I thought you were going with the Rogue One.
No, I was going for the snack that smiles back, Goldfish. The general that smiles.
We're not sponsored by Goldfish at all.
But we could be.
We could be.
We could be Goldfish. Best crackers. Or
delicious
Ritz crackers, if you want to sponsor us.
Anybody. We'll take anybody. Even Blue Chew.
100%. 100%. Oh, let's go to the namesake of the actual PLE. Why the people are here. The War Games matches.
Nah, hit it. You know how to hit it. Hit it. Hit it. Say the word.
War Games. It's War Games.
Oi, governor.
In it.
There goes our European crowd.
We love you guys.
We love you.
Let's start off with the women's match. It is, I guess, Team Rhea Ripley. If we do, we want to call it that. Team
Bianca
Rhea Ripley
didn't want to call it that.
Yeah.
But yes, we'll call it that.
Yeah, we'll call it that. Rhea Ripley, Bianca Belair, Naomi, Io Sky, and Wikipedia
Bayley.
has now officially spoiled it for me. I guess it is officially Bayley, according to Wikipedia.
It's gonna be Bayley.
Yeah, I figured as much. Versus Liv Morgan, Raquel Rodriguez, Nia Jax, Tiffany Stratton, and Candice LeRae. Let me kick this one off here, all right? And I need to be as serious and just direct to the point with you, the listener, the viewer. They cannot have the women's Money in the Bank winner, the women's world champion, and the WWE women's champion lose this match. That is 3 prestigious story devices that you could flush down the freaking toilet if you have the baby faces win. You have the formula to have an easy loss for the baby faces that makes sense. The insertion of Bayley in this, creating a divide in the team with Bianca Belair, with Io Sky, Naomi trying to play peacemaker here. Still the wondering of like, maybe it was Bayley that took out Jade Cargill. Who knows? It's there. You've got it. Of course, Rhea Ripley and Bianca Belair, when you have 2 people that powerful and that protected and that over on one team, it's difficult to visualize them losing. But I have a hard time seeing the 2 women's world champions losing a match. So because you have so much at stake on the heel side that you would just ruin if you have them lose, coupled with the fact that you have the perfect recipe for disaster for the women right now in Bayley, I'm taking the heels here. I'm taking Team Liv Morgan, Team Nia Jax, whatever. Sancho.
I feel like it's a weird thing to say, but the War Games match doesn't matter for the women because Tiffy's going to cash it in and everything is going to turn on its head. Like the moment that we will remember the most from this War Games is Tiffy cashing in on somebody. And that's going to be the biggest interaction. Like it's just going to cause mayhem. I think all women are going to be in both rings. It's going to be cashed in either immediately after or during the match, like late in the game, because it's the most unique scenario that the Money in the Bank has been in. Mm-hmm. And probably be the last time it would ever be in it for a while. There's no, we hinted at it before, there's no other scenarios that the Money in the Bank has been in as complicated as this one. It's usually cut and dry. It's usually like, oh, it's a 1v1 and the Money in the Bank comes in. Sometimes it makes it a little bit complicated by making it a triple threat. But never has every player, like you mentioned, all 11 women, been in the building with the Money in the Bank briefcase. I'm hoping at the end of the day, Tiffany Stratton is champion because it is Tiffy time. That's my prediction. And I'm sticking to it.
Let me ask you something. Does this need it? And I'm gonna give you my answer. Yes, because of what I deem to be a poor lack of story tying together this match. For this to really resonate, I think it needs this. I think it needs a cash in.
Why have it here? Why have everybody? Why have both champions on the same team? Why have a bunch of former champions on one other side? I know you're saying like the prestige of all the other titles and the Money in the Bank. There's a lot of experience on the other side. They're all former champions on the other side, crying out loud.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Every single one of them.
Wait, so who wins though?
That doesn't matter. Like that's what I'm
okay.
saying.
I get it. Okay, I understand. Okay, so you are abstaining from answering, sir. And your prediction is a Tiffany Stratton cash in. All right, mine is heels and a Tiffany Stratton cash in.
Okay,
I think both happen. Let's talk about what I presume will be the main event of the show. We're looking at yeah, it's gonna be that. It's the men's War Games match between Team Roman Reigns, led by Roman Reigns, Jey Uso, Jimmy Uso, Sami Zayn, and CM Punk, with Paul Heyman taking on the Bloodline, Solo Sikoa, Jacob Fatu, Tama Tonga, and Tonga Loa, and Bronson Reed. Sir, What do you say about this match?
As much as I love wearing tinfoil hats, and as much as I love to have something amazing happen, a comeback of the comebacks of The Rock coming back and raining down terror, the Ulafala exchanging something beyond the wildest dreams, as we're recording this very close to midnight, by the way. So Santi's a little bit tired. It's just gonna be a cut and dry, man. You cannot have CM Punk insert himself on a team and that team lose. It's like if LeBron James decided to join a team, that team's going to win. Like they need to. You know what I mean? It's that high caliber of star power that is firing on all cylinders with Roman Reigns, CM Punk, even Jey Uso, Sami Zayn, Sammy Hogan, by the way, and Jimmy Uso with the wise man who's always has an ace up his sleeve and who knows what he can do. It's going to be the OG bloodline. But it will cost them their soul. And that soul is by signing the deal with the devil, the wise man, and hiring CM Punk. This has been, I think, a very interesting move. I hope that we get more insight into it. By the time of the recording, we'll hopefully see what has ever happened on the SmackDown. But I'm thinking that Roman is going to realize that he doesn't have a wise man anymore. And I think Roman is either going to go two ways. Either he goes off as a lone wolf because he's still not on board with the Jimmy and Jey Uso and Sammy. Like he's still trying to navigate. Remember, he's like, I'm sorry that I had to deal with you, Sammy. And he's seemingly in a weird spot because I feel like Triple H's booking has made him so wishy-washy. Right? 1 second he's acting like I don't need you, and then like literally that night of he's like, okay, I need you because of that 2-hour time crunch that SmackDown is on. So I'm predicting OG Bloodline wins, but it costs Roman. And I think either Roman goes off on his own or the OG Bloodline just sticks to the three of Jey Uso and Roman Reigns.
I've got OG Bloodline winning as well, for similar reasons. Like you're not gonna pull out the trump card that is CM Punk and Roman Reigns teaming up together for the first time, really, and not have them win. I think it is a really simple 2 + 2 = 4 in this scenario. I do believe that this is just. We talked about this on the podcast. I think it's just a pendulum. It's gonna go back and forth. It started at Bad Blood. It was Bad Blood where Roman's team won. And then at Crown Jewel, Solo's team won. I think that Roman's team is going to win here again. And I think the pendulum will shift and go back that way with the return of The Rock at some point after Survivor Series. But I don't think, and I learned the hard way last year where I kept trying to think of this like crazy twist and turns that could happen in a match. Will Randy Orton turn heel and attack Cody Rhodes and show his true colors? It was just a straight up cookie cutter beginning to end babyfaces win. And I think that's going to be the case here as well. I don't think that there's a need to overthink it on this one. I think babyfaces win, but the storyline and the saga is not done. We still need Roman versus Solo for the Ulafala, likely Saturday night's main event, Royal Rumble. There's still so much more left, a lot of meat left on the bone. And I think you could just call it as is. Just baby faces win. I'm pretty confident that that's where it's going to go.
Quick predictions. Who jumps off the cage? Bronson Reed or Jacob Fatu or both?
Oh, brother. I need a tsunami off of there. I need a tsunami off the top of the cage. I feel like both is a cop-out answer. I'm going to say Bronson Reed.
Okay. And I think he takes out Jimmy.
Ooh,
I think Jimmy is done.
Ooh.
Like boom. And then Jimmy's out. He's off to the side. Sleeping the entire time. I think Roman will accidentally spear CM Punk, a la Roman spearing The Rock. Will you accidentally spear your cousin?
Yeah. You mentioned this on the podcast again, which you could get on Patreon. I love the drama that you built up about Roman Reigns and CM Punk being the last two in the cage, and it's just like that tension of those two being in there by themselves. Oh man, maybe down the line it's Roman versus CM Punk for custody of Paul Heyman or something. That'd be hilarious.
Paul Heyman on a pole match.
Nice, I love it.
We have seen Paul Heyman active in these gimmick matches before. There's something up Paul Heyman's sleeve, man. He's different. He's tan. He's young. He's slimmer. He has all his hair black. He has a Rolex watch. He's wearing the Solo handkerchief and the Solo silky shirt. There's something afoot. Okay?
Shenanigans.
I think that the Face Heyman was fun for a while, and Face Heyman was more of like a sympathetic dog character where we're like, please be nice to Paul Heyman Solo. The best Heyman, just like The Miz, is heel Heyman. And this will open the door for heel CM Punk, which will open the door for CM Punk going for the undisputed title, brother. This is the launch point for the CM Punk. We've now injected into the multiverse where CM Punk is chasing the undisputed title. And this is a better way to prove that CM Punk could run with the big dogs because he is the big doggy.
I think that's it. I don't think we missed a match.
Not this time.
No.
Before we missed LA Knight.
Yeah, we did miss an LA Knight. What was that? But that was for SummerSlam?
No, I think it was for one of the LA Knights. Yes, it was at SummerSlam.
I think it was SummerSlam. It was, yeah. All right, folks, we'll wrap it up there. Thank you very much for watching and or listening to this. Again, you could have been watching everything else on Patreon, but we'll leave it at that. You guys take care. Be wonderful people. See ya.